The BMW GS range of bikes needs no introduction. They've been around for maybe 30 odd years, all the way from the original 80GS in the early 80s right the way through to the modern 1200s. But for me, the original 80GS from the early 80s is the nicest one. This early pre-production prototype shows the basic concept that BMW had in mind. Note that it still has a twin-sided swinging arm, and they've simply put a large shock absorber on the far side. It still has the old-fashioned ATE brake as well. The production bike, on the other hand, sported a proper monoshock rear end and a Brembo caliper on the front. They're now highly desirable bikes and are very expensive to acquire. But you could just go out and get a load of BMW bits and pieces and build your own. Got a frame off a friend. The engine is basically an R100 RS, so it's a heavy flywheel, early 1000cc engine. The chassis is the bit that's quite different, obviously, to a real GS. It's got twin shocks. Interestingly, BMW stuck with the twin-sided swinging arm and the dual shocks on the Paris-Dakar desert races. The tricky bit to get hold of is the front wheel, because it's a 21-inch. With regard to the spacers, these are very specific to the 80GS. There's a spacer either side on this wheel, and if you don't get that right, your caliper hits your spokes. Two special thick spacers are also required between the caliper and the fork leg. The forks are off an R100 RT, and they're almost identical to the GS forks. I believe the GS forks have a slightly bit more travel. The mudguard brace is from Flat Racer, stainless steel. The exhaust system is actually from Armours. It's a stainless steel 2-in-1. They call it a Siamese. Bodywork wise, I was lucky to find an 80GS style petrol tank again on eBay. It was actually an ST tank that somebody had painted up. The rear carrier is actually Flat Racer, and that works really well with that Stahlkoffer metal top box. Bodywork is a Service headlight. It's a Service Elba, and that fits on really neatly. So to fit that, you've got to get rid of obviously all the wiring out of the headlamp shell, so that had to go. So all the wiring is underneath here. I kept an ignition switch, that's the original switch there, and then the relays and bundle of wiring are tucked under there. Standard battery position. The mudguard is a UFO. I think it's from their classic range, and same with the rear mudguard. Handguards, standard Beamer, they went straight on. The mirrors are old-fashioned Beamer. Oh yeah, the bars are rental. I think they're kind of like a medium rise rental, but I wanted them a bit higher, so I bought some of these very cheap actually, these handlebar risers, and they work really well. So it's about perfect now. You can stand up on it for quite a while through the rough stuff, and it works pretty well. So that's pretty much it. So an 80GS it is not. An 80GS lookalike it is, and I'm not going to pretend that it's as good as an 80GS off-road, or probably on-road is very good actually, but I've got to say it's pretty capable. The sticker on the front there is for the Valleys Extreme event at Walters Arena that me and a mate did on our BMs earlier in the year, and it is quite an extreme trail with some pretty tasty hills, and we both got round and we did a few laps on these old bangers. Everybody else was on like single cylinder KTMs and so forth, so we were pretty chuffed that we managed to, well, do one lap at least, and I think we both managed 3 or 4. So yeah, build yourself an 80GS Rep for a couple of £1,000 and it'll do pretty much the same stuff. Oh, couldn't see that bit of rock. This is. Single track. That catches the front wheel. These boulders.